This is a video based on your assignment number 23. We are continuing with ratio and proportion. The previous videos were based on ratio, and today we are going to do this proportion. So what is proportion? We got to understand that proportion here means equality of two ratios. Equality of two ratios. Now what I have done is I have two ratios here which have been separated by this line. Now if I just take the first ratio, 5:10, I can make it smaller by dividing both of them by 5. So I get 1:2. Similarly, if I go to the second ratio, this is 30:60. If I get it down to its smallest, dividing it by 30, I get 31s are 30, 32s are 60. Now you can see that the smallest forms of these two ratios is actually 1:2 and 1:2. So I can say that these two are actually equal. When these two are equal, I can also say that these two are equal. So keeping this in mind, what I have now is this entire ratio is actually equal to this entire ratio. So we consider this one here 5:10 and 30:60 to be in proportion. Now taking the same one, 5:10 is, as I said, proportional to 30:60. What is the symbol of proportion? We've got 4 dots, just like that you have in your Ludo dice. 4. Imagine the same thing. So this is the symbol that we have for proportion. Now I read it as 5:10 is proportional to 30:60. Now there are a few things I have written here. Now what are terms? Terms are proportional. Both are same. Each of these 5, 10, 30 and 60, they are considered to be terms, or they are also considered to be proportional. Now on the right hand side, you have extremes. Now what do you mean by extremes? If you look at the number 5 here and the 60 here, they are on the extreme ends. Therefore, these numbers which are on the extreme ends are called the extremes. So 60 is an extreme here and 5 is also an extreme. Whereas when we talk about the means, it means the two numbers that we have here in between the extremes. 10 and 30 are both means. Taking the extremes and the means into consideration, one important thing comes here now. What we have here is that the product of the extremes is equal to the product of the means. The extremes were 5 and 60. So product of extremes means 5 multiplied by 60, which is actually giving us 300. Similarly, if I go to the product of the means, 10 and 30 were the means. So product of the means 30, 10 into 30, which is actually giving us 300. So you can clearly see that these two are equal. That's why we are saying product of the extremes will always be equal to the product of the means. This is very, very important for us because we will be using this while working out many sums. So taking the first type of sum now. Find the fourth proportional of 2, 5 and 4. In other words, what they mean to tell us is the proportional is in this form. 2:5 is proportional to 4:something. We don't know what that question mark is. So let the fourth proportional be x. So now I can consider 2:5 is equal to 4 is to, I have taken the fourth proportional to be x. So I can consider this, and going back to product of extremes is equal to product of means. Now we will be using that product of extremes. That means 2 and x are the extremes. So product of 2 and x will be equal to product of the means will be 4 into 5. These are the two means. So I can say that x will be equal to 4 multiplied by 5. This 2 is multiplying here, it will go and divide. So calculating this, I will be getting 2 and 4. So 2 here. So x will be equal to 10. So I can consider the fourth proportional to be 10. So instead of x, what we have is 10. Now I can read it as 2 is to 5 is equal to 4 is to 10. Another type of sum that we have, find the third proportional. Though it says third proportional, what it actually means is that the first term is 27, second term is 9, is proportional to 9 is to something. We are still finding actually the fourth term. What we have done is, we have considered the third term and the fourth term, second term and the third term over here to be 9. So, let the third proportional be x. So this time I can write it as 27. 27 is to 9 is equal to 9 is to x. Nine is to x. Okay, so product of the extremes, that is 27 multiplied by x is equal to 9 multiplied by 9. Now, x will be equal to 9 multiplied by, will be equal to 9 multiplied by 9 divided by 27. So, I can now cancel it. 9 3s are 27 and 3 3s are 9, which means x will be equal to 3. So now we can consider this x, that is the third proportional, to be 3, and we can read it as 27 is to 9 is equal to 9 is to 3. And another type of sum that we have is finding the mean proportion. Here it means 16 is to something is equal to something is to 4. So we will have to find the means now. So let the mean proportional be x. So now I can write it as 16 is to 16 is to x is equal to x is to 4. Taking the means, that is x multiplied by x will be equal to 16 multiplied by 4. X into x is x squared, which is equal to 16 into 4 is 64. X squared is 64, but we are finding the value of x. So x can be written as square root of 64. Square root of 64. If I consider 64, 8 into 8 is 64. Or I can say this is 8 squared. Therefore, the value of x is going to be 8. So instead of x here, I can consider this to be 8. So here this will be 8 and this one also will be 8. So I can read it as 16 is to 8 is equal to 8 is to 4. So these are the three types of sums that are there in your assignment number 23.